Princess Celestia, ruler of Equestria, a mare of thousands of years old, and seen everything Terra could possibly throw at her country and her family. Thought she was going to die of extreme boredom, and coming from a mere her age, that would be quite an achievement. So she doubted the pony responsible to get an award for it. She said with a polite smile she could muster, as she looked at the earth pony in front of her, who had been blabbering on about something vaguely memorable in a plain monotone voice, for a good half hour. Behind him, the main ponies that occupied the throne room had fallen asleep, while a few that were awake were trying hard to stay awake. The sleepers were the lucky ones, she thought, not being able to remember what was being said. She wished at this moment she could join them, but knew if she did, she would have to scrutiny of not just the entire Canterlot elite, but her sister as well. She went to her right, the smaller throne her sister would have resided to help her rule the country, but today it was empty as Discord's heart. Earlier today, Luna made up some excuse about not resting as well as she could be. So she excitedly announced over breakfast she would be sleeping for the rest of the day. Celestia wished her sister was there. She could really use someone like her to shut this pony up, so she could listen to another pony in need of proper help. Some pony, any pony, help me! She screeched and thought, while trying her best to keep back the loving smile across her face. Her prayers were answered, luckily, when the doors of the throne room threw themselves open, so a great gust of wind had invaded the castle, and was coming to take the princess and bring about the destruction of Equestria. The ponies in the throne room, awake or barely awake, sat down in their places and looked at the invader with horror. Instead of a terrible invasion of an unknown element, however, it was a yellow Pegasus with a long pink mane and tail, expressing a look of panic on her face.
Oh my goodness, Princess, I'm so sorry. I only just got your letter and I came running all the way from Ponytail and I...
Fluttershy trailed off as she saw every pony in the room, looking at her with either annoyance or gratitude.
Oh dear. I'm so sorry for interrupting everybody.
She took a step back, shying away from the gazes.
I'll just go outside and wait.
Grain, Celestia clapped her foreheads together and rose from her throne. Well, my dear friend. She had even forgotten the Earth Pony's name. We shall discuss the rest of this matter at a later date. Before the pony could protest, he spoke up again. I am sorry for all those that haven't had the chance to put forward their issues. I assure you I will listen to them from tomorrow morning and into the evening to make up for it. For now, court is dismissed. One by one, the ponies before the throne room bowed before the princess. Have you guys ever noticed that we pony fans seem to be the only ones to show off Celestia being in court and handling the issues like a real ruler? I mean, don't get me wrong, I know why. I know why we don't see it. Because no kid would get the joke. It does see Celestia bored. And considering that a lot of parents seem to be against the idea of actually answering questions, remember kids, remember folks, listen, all adults listening to my channel, do not feel afraid of letting your kids ask you questions. That is how they learn. If they see something and want to ask you something, let them. This will make them feel smarter and actually feel like they can listen to you and you are paying attention to them. This has been a public service announcement. Anyway, they also probably don't know how to do a court gag like this. So it makes sense. I'm just saying, I find it kind of funny that we brownies seem to be the only ones to do these court jokes. One by one, the ponies before the throne were bowed before the princess, slowly exited out the room, giving Fluttershy either looks of thanks or glares as they walked out. Once the last of them had gone, Celestia gestured for the guards to leave. Once they did, and walked out the room as well, closing the doors behind them. Fluttershy walked up to the throne room and bowed, looking deeply apologetic.
I'm so sorry, Princess, for
Fluttershy, I could not thank you enough for that. Celestia cut her off with a smile. I thought I was going to die of boredom back there, so I owe you my life.
Oh, well, don't worry about it, Princess.
Fluttershy said, waving a hoof. Celestia chuckled. Please, call me Celestia. It'll be a nice change from hearing Princess constantly after today.
Okay, if you're, Sir Celestia.
Very sure. Celestia walked down the throne in her size elegant, as graceful as expected of her. She stopped just before the Pegasus, still wearing the same motherly smile that put the Dragonlord in a sense of peace. So, Fluttershy, the princess continued, I'm sorry for bringing you here on such short notice, but I wanted to know about your adventures and what you discovered about yourself.
But didn't Twilight tell you what happened?
She did, but she only told me the parts that she was involved, and, from what she has said to me, she thought to try to find you. So I'd like to know what happened from your point of view. Fluttershy's ears flat as she remembered the reason as to why they weren't with her for the first half of her journey.
Oh, okay. Well, where do you want me to begin?
She asked. Celestia looked around the throne room, seeing it wasn't suitable for such a long talk, to go ahead. Let's get comfortable first, before we discuss the events in Horska. I would have waited and had this talk in my chambers, but since court today took forever, and it's a nice day outside, I bet we go outside first and have this conversation in the gardens. The princess suggested. Farsight's face lit up with joy and hopped on the spot.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you, Celestia.
Celestia smiled, and then gestured with a hoof towards the doors of the throne room, and the only way out. Farside stepped aside, allowing Celestia to go through first. Celestia smiled and thanked her, before walking past her. Once the princess was ahead of her, Farside broke into a trot so she could keep up. Celestia's strides were long, looking more like she was jogging rather than walking. She was about to leave the throne room when one of the stained glass windows caught her eyes and forced her to stop. The longer she stared, the lower her jaw went, and the wider her eyes grew.
Oh, my,
she whispered, unable to say anything else. It was an image of herself, rearing up, and swords persisted across her chest, formed into a cross at the center of a window. Vindar below her, lying on his back and vanquished for good. You know, if we keep putting up these freaking stained glass windows, we're not going to have any normal ones left. Celestia glanced over her shoulder to see Fluttershy had stopped and was looking at the window with a shocked expression on her face. Ah, yes, that. I do hope you like it, Fluttershy. It took the window maker a long time to come up with that, but I think he got your likeness well, don't you think? Celestia noticed something in Fluttershy's eyes that seemed to show major disappointment in something. She frowned. Is something wrong? Fluttershy looked from the window to her ruler.
Yes, there is.
She answered rather bluntly.
Why aren't my friends in this as well? They fought the final battle and helped me when I needed it.
Celestia smiled at her and set a comforting hoof on her shoulder. Before I had the window commissioned, I asked Twilight, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, and Rarity about the window, and how it should look and where they would like to be positioned. You know what they said in response? Fluttershy shook her head after a brief minute to think about it. They said they were pleased the window was being put up, but none of them wanted to have their likeness in the window itself. They refused to have themselves remembered for this moment. Fluttershy stared at Celestia in disbelief, and looked back at the
window. They helped me. I would have never defeated him on my own.
Celestia chuckled. They know that, child, but I'm sure they have their reasons, both simple and complicated. As to why they didn't want to be hailed as you will be, I can think of one, though. They wanted to be this your victory, Fluttershy. Not you or your friends, just you. Fluttershy sighed, nodding in understanding.
I hope they all get their own windows at some point.
Celestia chuckled, removing her head from Fluttershy's shoulders. I'm sure they will someday. She turned away and headed towards the doors once more. Oh, and in case you're wondering, yes, they got a stained glass window at the end of fall. Right, come on, let's get outside while the sun's still up. Fluttershy gave one last look at the window before following Celestia out. The princess led Fluttershy out of the throne room, down the corridor on the left, and a small white door was led into the gardens. Fluttershy gasped in wonder at the sights of many different birds, animals, and plants scattered about. The sight brought back many memories of the time she had been here, especially the first time she was here, was ended with her going on a rampage. She cringed at the memory that still haunted her. Celestia led her through a garden to a small table in a clearing from view by tall hedges. Please, take a seat, Celestia offered. Fluttershy nodded in thanks and sat down in a chair opposite the monarch. So, Fluttershy, tell me everything that had happened after you left me at Canterlot. Fluttershy nodded and began telling Celestia the story. From meeting Vidar on a railway bridge to Stratford and her meetings with several ponies. Celestia let out a small giggle when the Dragon Lord mentioned the mare that had flirted with her and quickly apologized about it. Oh, it's all right, Celestia, Fluttershy said, giggling. I still think about her sometimes and laugh about it. Celestia raised an eyebrow and turned her head slightly. So, would you? She asked. Fluttershy blushed, looking aghast. Oh no, of course not, she exclaimed. Fluttershy giggled at Celestia. I barely knew her for a start, and, well, I didn't think I want a relationship now, for many reasons. She smiled wryly to herself. Still don't understand what she saw in me. Well, if I may speak the truth, you are a very beautiful Pegasus. Probably one of the beautiful ponies I've ever seen, Celestia remarked. Fluttershy squeaked in surprise, and blushed so fiercely she thought she might faint. She quickly took a sip from her cup of tea to cool herself down. Celestia giggled and let a silence hung in the air afterwards before speaking once more. Now then, what happened to you after you left Stratford? Celestia said, gesturing a hope with her to continue. Fluttershy nodded and told her about the night they camped outside in the forest surrounding the Trots, where she told of her childhood as an orphan. She quickly moved on to when they made it to the city, and as she parted company from her friends. I still feel terrible for leaving them like that, she said, her eyes fixed on the table. But now it has passed. I feel like I made the right decision. I just couldn't bear the thought of them all dying because of me. She looked up and saw Celestia with a loving smile on her face. Twilight mentioned it in her letter. I don't blame you, Fluttershy. No pony does. You acted out of love and kindness for your friends. Maybe it might have worked out for the best after all. Oh, yes, Fluttershy answered. Well, at least I think it did. She began to recall to Celestia the events of living to Trots, from arriving at Horska, being taken prisoner by the Andalusians. Celestia's eyes widened in horror, hearing how close Fluttershy was to death. My head lay down on the block. I closed my eyes to breathe the final sigh of content as I waited to hear the blade come down. Next thing I knew, I felt a key of fire in my cup. I looked around and saw the fire everywhere, and a large dragon soaring over the city, burning and killing at will. I never felt so terrified in my life. Me and a horse named Thrower were lucky to escape. She told Celestia the city of Castellion, the capital of Horska, the name of Freya, now the true queen of Horska. Celestia nodded through it all. Now this is interesting, Celestia thought ashamedly. She wanted to how she left the city, made her way into the ragged mountains, came across a giant spire and was nearly killed by it, to her first meeting with Firewing. So, instead of you finding Firewing found you, Celestia said with a chuckle. Fluttershy laughed as well. Well, you're right, Princess. Funny that. Once the bear calmed down, Fluttershy went on to how she and Firewing made it out of the fortress into a small place where new Dragonlords went to learn about what they were now. Instead, I learned about my heritage and what I had become. Fluttershy finished, pausing to take a sip of her cup. Celestia nodded and took a sip of her cup as well. Have you ever heard of the Dragonlords, Princess? Fluttershy asked. After a while, Celestia nodded. Only that they were warriors who protected those who couldn't protect themselves, and that they were made up from ponies of different kingdoms, as well as my subjects. But I didn't know so much to recognize that you were instantly. So tell me, did the Dragonlords possess any special abilities? Fluttershy nodded and quickly told her about her many abilities. She told the princess of her new life range of 1,000 years. Celestia's eyes widened. You can live longer, Fluttershy nodded. Celestia slumped back in her chair. I did not expect that one at all. Next thing you're going to tell me is that Firewing's your father. She chuckled at the thought. Actually, he was, Celestia said with a small smile. Celestia's cup slipped out of her telekinesis, spilling her tea, making Fluttershy gasp in horror. Oh, I'm sorry, Celestia. Oh dear. She squeaked and quickly hid behind her mane. Celestia, after getting out of her shock, laughed and brushed Fluttershy's mane out of her face with her magic. It's okay, Fluttershy. I have to admit I'm shocked. I'm sure a revelation like this would have been just the same for you. At first, I was angry more than shocked.
Actually, I was fuming. I didn't want to believe that the pony I came looking for was in fact my father. I always believed him to be dead. So I stormed out of the room and had a moment to myself, reeling over the news. Not long after, a few words with a robin told me to talk to him while he left me. And he could understand why. He came to show me this.
She took a hold of a medallion that seemed to be glued to her chest and whispered,
Apene!
The medallion snapped in half at the command, presented to the winged unicorn, the picture of her mother and father.
This was taken a month before I was born.
Celestia leaned in to get a clever look, but the warmth flowed through her at the sight of a smiling rosemary and firewing.
This is a beautiful picture, Fluttershy, she commented.
Went back into Pegasus.
What was your mother's name? Rosemary,
Fluttershy replied with a small smile.
After I saw this picture, I can no longer deny this pony was my father, though I still felt confused as to why he left me. I offered to help him fight the fight against Heimdall.
Fluttershy went on about how she met the fiery dragon for the first time, how she and Firewing worked their way through the traps together, and how they fought off a guard with remnants.
Celestia, have you ever killed someone?
She asked after telling Celestia how she killed the remnants to save her Pharaoh's life. A moment later, Celestia reluctantly nodded.
In the defense of my sisters and my subjects,
it was necessary I killed, or the enemies of Equestria would kill thousands. The early days of Equestria under our reign were the worst, Fluttershy. Violent rebellions occurred nearly everywhere. Invasions from outside countries that sensed weakness as the country oozed, including the changelings. Only Luna and I, with about a hoofful of soldiers brought together by our call, were able to fend them off. It was a long time before the Royal Guard was big enough to combat the many threats and restore the peace. First I nodded in understanding. But you must know, every time I killed someone, I felt a part of me die. That's why I was glad when the Guard was strong enough to fight in my sister and I's stead, so I could retire and work on proper matters. Celestia chuckled at something. Though nowadays, there is a part of me that wishes for those old days, when I felt I was doing something worthwhile. With that out of the way, Fluttershy went on how she learned of her origins, why she was left at the orphanage she was raised in the first place. Her tone saddened to the point that Celestia thought she was going to burst into tears. She told of her father's death.
He was just standing there, with a wistful smile on his face, even as the dragon came up from behind him and grabbed him in his jaws. I just screamed. I did nothing to stop the dragon. I did nothing to save him. I just stood there and screamed my heart out.
After a moment of silence between them, only the singing birds to break it, Celestia got up and gripped the Pegasus in a hug, rubbing her back with gentle movements, while Fluttershy shook her remnants, never once spilling a tear.
Sorry, Princess,
Celestia whispered.
I shouldn't be acting like this.
Celestia smiled and rubbed a hoof through Fluttershy's mane.
You have nothing to be sorry for, my dear. What happened and what you saw should not be something a pony like you should see.
She pulled away, and frowned confusedly when she saw no tears in the Dragonlord's eyes.
Why are there no tears in your eyes? Because I cried about it for too long, Princess,
Fluttershy replied.
Besides, my father wouldn't want me to cry for him. Just remember him, as I knew him by.
After a moment to compose herself, Fluttershy proceeded to tell Celestia how, in Brian Wade's, she attacked and killed the dragon that killed her father, after threatened her friends with torture and death. She went on to how they located the resting place of the 15th, only to discover to her horror and grief it wasn't there. And then how they had to fight off an army of dragon, which they managed to defeat but at the cost of losing Thrall.
I should feel sad to know he's dead,
Fluttershy said, on the subject of the horse who saved her life.
Yet for some reason, I'm not. I guess I'm just happy for him to see his family again. It's just a place exists.
Celestia remained eerily silent. Fluttershy went on to tell her how she met Fidar again, and when she revealed he was married to the others.
Have you had children, Celestia?
Fluttershy asked, while noticing the hesitation in the princess's eyes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Celestia. Forget I ever...
No, it's okay. Yes, I've had children. It was during the dark times when Equestria was rebuilding, Celestia answered. Fluttershy looked to the ground, thinking of how she was going to ask what she wanted to say.
If You don't mind me asking, that is, what was it like giving birth, I mean? If I'm honest, it's probably the most painful experience of my life, but the rewards are the greatest. Celestia smiled at a long distant memory. First I smiled with her. So, where are your children now? Question is, what happened after you told your friends the news? Celestia asked. First I realized she hit the sour point. So quickly to take Princess's silent advice and move on. She proceeded to tell how the six of them sneaked into Ironhoof Fortress, got a hold of the key, and how Fluttershy nearly killed a horse begging for her life. I was ashamed of myself that day, Princess. Still am, really. I thought I learned my lesson after Iron Will and what I did to Pinky and Fairy, but I learned a tougher, harsher lesson that echoed through my journey. Celestia looked on with interest. I learned that history repeats itself. No matter how different we do something to try and avert the past, we eventually go back and do the same thing, Fluttershy explained, her tone indicating sadness of knowing such a fact. Celestia sadly nodded. I wish I could say that isn't true, Fluttershy, but I can't. After a while, we tend to make the same mistakes. I know I do. We'll continue to do so 100 times over. Fluttershy smiled comfortably. For ponies, though, we always make mistakes. She went on to how she acquired a boat to take her and her friends to the Horskin Sea, and her final encounter with Heimdall. She told of the final battle that had followed, the wounds she received, and how her friends helped, not only how she managed to defeat him by collapsing the tomb and engulfing it with water, drowning him. She talked to her and friends timely rescued by Vidar before the water engulfed them, and finally leaving Castilian, heading home. I came back from that adventure scarred permanently, fatherless once more, with many regrets and worries hanging over my shoulders. Only one thing I regret more than most, Celestia. I never got to say goodbye to my father. Tell him I loved him dearly. Fluttershy finished sighing sadly. Celestia looked at Fluttershy for a moment, wondering whether to spill such a secret to the Pegasus. It was clear to the princess that Fluttershy desperately wanted to see her father again, even for 4 minutes. She deserved that much, surely. Fluttershy, what if I told you there's a chance for you to see him again? That Fluttershy's head shot up instantly. Her eyes wide and her mouth open in shock. What would you say if you were given a chance to see your father again? For 4 minutes only, would you take it? Fluttershy didn't take long to think about it. I would not hesitate, she answered. Celestia smiled and got up from her cushion. Then follow me, she ordered, and began walking back towards the palace. Fluttershy sprang out of her cushion and trotted alongside the princess. She wasn't a foot away from her when the princess swung around and pointed a hoof to her. But you must promise me this, Celestia added sternly. You will never tell anyone outside of Twilight, Spike, Rarity, Pinky, Rainbow, and Applejack about this. This is something that must stay secret and hidden above all else. It's too important and dangerous for everyone to know. Promise? Fluttershy nodded hastily, noticing the seriousness in Celestia's voice. I promise I won't tell anyone except my friend Celestia. Cross my heart, hope to fly, stick a cupcake in my eye, she said with all the movements. Celestia looked at Fluttershy amusedly for a moment. What if Pinky sings? Fluttershy explained. Celestia's eyes widened in understanding. Okay, that does sound like something Pinkie Pie would do, she said with a giggle. With that, Celestia led Fluttershy through the garden and into the palace once more. Fluttershy felt a knot tighten in her stomach as they walked from corridor to corridor, passing ponies who bowed their heads in respect to the princess. And now she was being given the chance to see her father for the last time, something that she couldn't describe. She knew she would feel slighted, instead felt terrified. What should I say to him? Should I hug him first, or should I ask him about how he is? She wondered. She hesitantly rubbed her stomach a huff, wincing at pain she could feel. What will you say to me? Will you even want to speak to me after what happened? After a few minutes of walking down corridors, exchanging pleasant greetings with other ponies, the pair finally made their way down to another corridor. This one with darkened windows that kept the sunlight out, turning the passageway at an eerie pace that kept Fluttershy at the tip of her hose. Where are we? She asked. A place so few of the servants that work in Linden Castle are allowed to go, Celestia replied cryptically, glancing over her shoulder to her. She looked ahead once more. The sound of her hostess, and Fluttershy's heavy breathing, the the only thing that could be heard. Eventually, the end of the corridor was in sight. First, I squinted her eyes to have a better look. Eyes wide so she could make out a small door at the far end. Black hexagonal shapes covering the bottom half of the door. Nymphs with golden alicorns, stretched out wings, rearing defiantly against an imaginary foe. The princess flicked her head towards the door, or glowing light for a brief moment. As on command, the door slowly swung open, creaking with aids. Celestia and Fluttershy walked in without another, the former looking ahead while the latter was looking for any sign how to see her father. She was disappointed, to say the least. She saw the only thing in the small windowless hall was a large, oval-shaped mirror. "How can I see my father?" Fluttershy asked, not bothering to hide its disappointment as she could feel it from her voice. Celestia indicated the mirror with her head. "What that?" she answered. "But it's just a mirror." Celestia shook her head, chuckling. "No, Fluttershy. That is the mirror of the dead. It's an ancient and powerful magical piece that is old as Equestria itself, formed from a great anomaly to this day ponies cannot understand. It gives ponies the ability to see the ones that have left this world, moved on to the next one for a few minutes only, and to see that they are doing all right in paradise. To give them and those they left behind a sense of peace." First, I looked at Celestia for a moment's surprise, and back to the mirror with a growing amount of dread. To think that, all this time, lessons concerning the next realm were true, and every pony's spirits would make their way there when their bodies in terror would wither and die. So what would her father look like on the other side? Would it be a reflection of what it looked like when he died? Would it be younger, or older, or just as he did before he received the wounds that killed him? Fluttershy took a step back, shaking her head. "I don't think I can do this." Celestia looked at her with a comforting smile. "What makes you think that?" I just don't know what to expect. If I go there, is it scary on the other side?" The princess chuckled, shaking her head vigorously. "Oh no. Paradise is the most beautiful place ever to be created by magic. I would tell you, but I think it would be easier for you to see it yourself." Celestia gave her a nudge forward. "Now, all you have to do is walk up to it and tell it who you want to see. Then let the ancient magic inside do the rest. It is perfectly safe. Just don't break the glass." Celestia turned to leave. "I'll just be outside this door. Call me when you're done." Fluttershy nodded nervously and let Celestia lead the hall. Princess looking back at her with a smile, telling her to be brave. Once the door had closed behind Celestia, Fluttershy took a deep breath and swallowed the lump in her throat. With her trying forward towards the mirror, mind churning out 1,000 thoughts at once. As soon as she was close enough to see her own reflection, she stared at herself for a moment. She tilted her head to the left a little to stare at the scar that now rested under the eye under her nose. The hair, the scar, as well as one on her back, made her feel a lot older than she was, more like 30 to 20, and a lot wiser about the world and less innocent. Hello?" she said to the mirror. The mirror replied, "If it's okay with you, I would like to see my father, finally." Her eyes widened with some realization and hastily asked, "And my mother, Rosemary, if possible, please." She looked back in the mirror to see her mother and father staring back at her with smiles but saw nothing. After a moment of nothing happening, it became clear it wasn't working. "I guess he wouldn't want to talk to me after all." With a sad sigh, she began to turn to leave. She stopped suddenly when she heard something akin to soup being too hot in the pan. She turned around to see the glass in the mirror form into a liquid that shot out straight towards her. First, I didn't have time to scream as the liquid encased her in a dome-like shape, swirling like a tornado around her. First, I charged at the liquid, hoping she would break through. She squeaked in surprise as she felt herself pushed back into the center, falling into her rump. She stared in horror at the swirling mass, before prostrating herself on the ground and covered her head with pillows, shaking in fright. She closed her eyes and prepared for whatever was about to happen to her. Suddenly, silence fell. After a moment of nothing but tranquility, first I lifted a hoof from her face and popped an eye open. Her mouth slowly opened in shock, the air in her lungs leaving her at the sight before her. This is paradise," she thought incredulously. It was the sea, a A sky blue sea as calm as a windless day. Not even the waves lapping against the shore. While she was standing on a beautiful sandy beach that stretched as far back as the eye could see. She slowly got up and looked around. The sky, other than a natural blue, was a dazzling orange, with the color of the sunset. Not a single cloud was in sight. The grass that ran along the edges of the beach was tall, easily able to run up to the top of her legs. It was a bright green. Fluttershy's head spun rapidly around, mind unable to process what she was saying. This cannot be real, she whispered, trying to spin in place with a fallen jaw and wide eyes. She quickly raised her leg and nipped at her coat, feeling a sharp sting from the leg and making her way back. Okay, this is real, totally real, she started. She looked around for any sign of her father and her mother. Her ears flattened, but she couldn't see any of them. I guess I'd better go looking for them. First I set out to get off the speed to find her father. But stopped when she felt her nose touch something like glass. She fell back onto her haunches and worked her way with her hooves around her. Discovered to her heart she was trapped in a glow casing. Help! She cried. Somebody help me! I'm trapped! Seeing nobody around to help her, she raised a hoof to smash the glass down. And right behind her on this piece, you can see Eiko and the girl playing with a pair of watermelons. You've actually seen Eiko. Congratulations! You're now Legend's best friend.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Fluttershy froze in shock as her ears received that voice. Mai tried to tell her that it heard in her head, yet her heart told her she really heard it. She believed in her heart. She lowered her hoof and slowly turned around to find that, standing behind her with a bright smile, was her father. Dad! She cried, a smile widening across her face as she raised her hoof again to try and smash the glass. You'll need to get out of this. Farway shook his head, eyes sad.
You shouldn't, Fluttershy.
Fluttershy's eyes widened and her smile instantly disappeared, revealing a devastation. What do you mean I shouldn't? I can't give you a hug? I miss our hugs. Firewing walked closer, his ears flat against his head.
I'm sorry, Fluttershy. If you do, the barrier between this world and the living will collapse, and the terror will spread, and the dead will pour through to the other side.
He explained. He stopped for a few inches from the shield and stared at her.
Believe me when I say the only bad things will follow if that ever happens.
Fluttershy's ears fell flat. So I can only say goodbye? Firewing nodded and smiled.
So that's what you wanted.
Fluttershy bowed her head, and after a moment her father sank in, nodded. Yes, but I would prefer to hug and goodbye. Fluttershy looked back up again and gave her father a sad smile. He looked around her. Where are we?
On a beach.
Firewing replied cheekily. Fluttershy looked at him as if he just told the worst joke in the world. Okay, where is the beach? Firewing gestured with a leg to the land around him.
This is the next realm, my dear.
Firewing replied.
Paradise, Elysium, Valhalla, endless desert. Take your pick. It's all the same place. The one everyone and everything goes to after they die in the first world. A land that's more beautiful and more peaceful than Terra.
Fluttershy looked back at her father with curious eyes. So Throw would be here, and Hindar too? Firewing nodded.
Yes, my child. Everyone and everything that has ever lived or will live will eventually come here and live in peace.
He smiled widely, giving Fluttershy a better chance to look at him. He looked slightly younger than he met him, showed no signs of his wounds he suffered in the claws of Hindar, which Fluttershy was thankful for. Fluttershy smiled and placed her foreheads against the dome. I did it, Dad. I defeated Hindar.
I know you did, my child. I always knew you would.
Firewing said, beaming at his sire.
I always knew you would be the one to save us all.
Fluttershy shook her head in disagreement. I didn't save you, though. I could have saved you. Instead, I let you die. For that, I'm sorry, she said sadly, bowing her head and saying,
Lift your head up for me, please. I can't do it myself.
Firewing requested with a chuckle. Fluttershy lifted her head up and saw his bright smile.
You have nothing to be sorry for, Fluttershy.
This time, it was his turn to bow his head.
If anything, I should be sorry. could have done anything to prevent my death. Only I could have. But I failed to act when I should have. For that, I'm sorry. Can you ever forgive me?
Pegasus didn't need time to think about it. Of course I can, Fluttershy replied. She was now on the verge of tears. She sobbed quietly and wiped her face with her huff. Goodness, I can't think of what to say, she said with a laugh. I've been thinking about this ever since Celestia told me. And now it's all gone. Firelight laughed too. The two fell silent for a moment, looking into each other's eyes, longing to hold and comfort each other.
What will you do now?
Firewing asked. Fluttershy shrugged. Start again, I suppose. Try to continue what I did before my life turned upside down. It'll be hard, but with my friends by my side, I know I can do it. I think I can take a small comfort knowing my adventure is over. Firewing cocked his head to the side.
Over? Oh, my dear Fluttershy. Your adventure's not over. Far from it, for fact.
Fluttershy tilted her head in confusion.
Our lives are one big adventure. The roads we take and decisions we make affect us in our daily lives. We could go one way, something will happen. Then the next day we could go the same way, and something different will occur. The same principle applies for when we go on a journey.
Fluttershy's eyes widened as she understood what her father said, slowly nodding in agreement. You're right, Dad. Our lives are one big adventure, and I'm going to live my life like one. And your memory, and my mother's. Firewing's eyes widened in remembrance.
Oh, that reminds me. I guess the mirror heard your request and answered. There's someone who wants to talk to you.
He indicated with his head to look behind her. Fluttershy slowly turned around and gazed when she saw a great Pegasus with a blue mane and tail similar to her own style, staring at her wide eyes and open mouth. Mom? She squeaked. The tears in her eyes started to run like waterfalls at the sight of her mother. Mother? Rosemary walked up to the glass until her nose pressed against it. Her eyes never leaving Fluttershy's. Fluttershy leaned in closer and did the same, tears still streaming down my face. My girl, her mother whispered in awe. My sweet little angel. Rosemary slowly placed a hoof on the dome where Fluttershy's cheek was resting. Oh, you haven't grown. She smiled, pulled her hoof away. What a wonderful mare you've become. Fluttershy grinned, even as tears of joy cascaded down her face. Well, she sobbed. I always wanted to say that. She raised the hoof to the glass where her mom's cheek was, wondering to herself about how close, but how far she was from her mother. I wish I could hug you, Mom. I really do. And you will, my dear, but not yet, Rosemary replied. Fluttershy knew what she meant. One day it would be her turn to leave Terra behind and come to this realm. Slowly the dome began to fade out. Fluttershy looked down to her host and saw to her alarm she too was fading. No, please! I don't want to go. She cried into the air, hoping a greater powers could hear her and stop it.
Fluttershy,
Firewing said, walked up to his wife and placed a hoof across her shoulders.
before you go, I just want you to know that what you've done, and whatever you're going to do, you're so proud of you.
We will always be watching you, my darling, Rosemary added, tears running across her eyes. Now and for always. Fluttershy relaxed and pressed her hooves against the dome. Wide smile across her face, even as tears continued to flow down her cheeks. Goodbye, Mom. Goodbye, Dad. I love you both. Fluttershy sobbed. I love you both so much. The two smiled blissfully at her daughter.
Goodbye for now, my dear,
Firewing said, tears of pride forming in his eyes.
Now go, live your life. Go on your adventure.
Don't forget, Rosemary called as Fluttershy's body started to fade. We'll be watching over you, and we love you. I love you too. Fluttershy weighed a hoof it down as he disappeared. She blinked. When she opened her eyes again, found herself staring at the mirror once more, in the great hall in Canterlot. That, the tears began to freely run once more. She buried her face behind her hose. Princess! Fluttershy called, before breaking down to sobs. Celestia kicked the door open and raced to Pegasus' side. Before she even made it halfway, Fluttershy spun around and galloped over, leapt into her, wrapped her forelegs around the princess's neck in a tight hug. Thank you, Princess. Thank you. Thank you. Fluttershy sobbed, tears of joy running down her face. She got over the shock of being hugged, Celestia smiled and read the hole from around the mirror. You are welcome, Fluttershy. And please, from now on, call me Celestia. This goes to Twilight, Verity, Applejack, Pinky, Rainbow, and Spike also. You 7 deserve that much. Fluttershy kept a hold of Celestia for a long time. Yet the princess did nothing to make her let her go. Tears ran freely down her face. A wide grin across her lips as she remembered the last moment she saw her mother and father, standing together with loving smiles and in each other's embrace. Her parents were at peace, and now, so was she. Fluttershy breathed a quiet sigh of relief as she jumped out the stairs to the station and started a short walk towards Twilight's home. Still she could make out the darkness. Oh, I hope Twilight's awake tonight, she thought, hoping that she could be the unicorn side studying until dawn. I had to at least tell my friends what I see. Every time she spent with the princess was saying sorry about losing the bracelet. What Celestia was not bothered about. It generally does taking anything, from the main creatures that make up the land to their day-to-day lives. Even Philomena came for a visit, which lifted Fluttershy's spirits greatly. As the sun started to set, Fluttershy started to head home. She parted for Celestia as a good and welcome friend. Fluttershy chuckled as she remembered Celestia's final wave of goodbye for the season as the last train to Ponyville left. And breathed in the cold night air. She looked up and saw the sky was covered full of bright stars. These were reminding her of her parents' promise. They're watching me from the heavens. She smiled, smiling widely at the sight. Maybe Zodiac's watched over them too. She was free from her thoughts when she found herself at the front door of the library. Quickly glanced through the windows, seeing no light coming from within. She prepared herself to turn around and head for home. The suddenly she noticed a small note above the doorknob. Not in. Please come back tomorrow. Well, that's odd. First I tilted her head to the side. Wonder where she is. She pondered for a moment. Aha! She's probably at Suki's corner, one of Pinky's parties. Earth Pony had been hosting more and more of the parties since returning, even for when there wasn't any need for one. She spun away and galloped to Suki's corner. She soon found her slowed down, her legs started playing up once more. She felt annoyed, but she ignored it and carried on. She soon made her way to the bakery, only to find when she got there it was locked and empty. Okay, that's weird. He usually has a party going. Where is every pony? She tapped her chin and thought, I'll try Rarity's. She's usually out this late. She made her way to Rarity's, but found it was shut in too. She went to Rainbow's and found to her disappointment no pony was home. And finally, when she exhausted all her other options, she went to Sweet Apple Acres, only to find Big Macintosh sitting outside the family house, listening to the evening birds singing their farewell songs. Evening, Big Macintosh. She greeted the large earth pony with a nod. Big Mac replied with a nod of his home. Is Applejack in? Nope, Big Mac replied with a shake of his head. Oh. Fluttershy's ears fell flat. Do you know where he is? Big Mac pondered for a moment, then replied, Nope, sorry, Miss Fluttershy. Oh, that's okay. Good night, Big Macintosh, she said, and tried to house the Apple Acres. Fluttershy's stomach began to go wild once more as she started to worry about her friends. Where are they? She wondered aloud. Okay, now they've appeared tomorrow. I'll go out and look for them. Across a small hill, saw her cot standing peacefully on a small hill. It was halfway across the bridge when she stopped, and ears picked up the sound of whispers. Recognizable whispers of a certain Pegasus at her cots. Do you know how long we have to wait now? She shouldn't be much longer, another voice came in, recognizable as Twilight's. You said it about 2 hours ago, another voice retorted, which was recognizable as Spike's. 2 hours isn't that long ago, Spike, Twilight carried. You can't get a lot done in 2 hours. Only you can see that, Twi! Rainbow Dash said flatly, earning a giggle from the Dragonlord. Well, I hope she gets back for Catalan soon. I'm getting tired and need my beauty sleep, said another distinctive voice, making Fluttershy giggle. The guest suddenly followed. Lucy got lost! A great silence fell for a moment. Pinky, how and Tara can Fluttershy get lost? She probably knows Ponyville better than I do, Twilight said. Well, Applejack got lost at one time, Pinky argued. I didn't get lost, Blinky. I intended to go to Don Sugson. You seen Applejack? You can say that.
She walked over to Prince and made it to the door.
Just everybody be quiet.
No pony's talking, Blinky, Applejack whispered. Just you.
Okay, try and sound and look surprised.
Fluttershy thought. She turned the knob on the door and opened it. She walked in and flicked on the light.
Surprise!
Twilight, Spike, Rainbow, Applejack, and Rarity exclaimed, throwing their hooves and claws into the air.
Surprise!
Pinky came in last, jumping out from behind the sofa.
Oh, shit, you can.
Fluttershy let out a surprised squeak and tilted a few feet in the air as he saw Twilight, Applejack, Rarity, Pinky, and Rainbow sitting around the living room floor. Sleeping bags all over the floor, each with the other's cutie mark across it. Decorations on the ceiling and a table full of treats by the stairs.
Oh, my. You startled me, everybody.
She said, going pitch back.
What are y'all doing here?
Well, to thank you for helping us out these past 2 months, Applejack replied. So, we all decided a little sleepover here for the night.
And we wanted to talk to you about something, Rarity added, all asking to her. But shy. You said you can't talk to children.
Her side with her ears falling flat nodded.
Well, we've all been talking.
Which, coming from Rarity, was very dangerous, Rainbow said jokingly. Rarity glared at Rainbow, while the others were trying to control themselves from laughing.
But anyway, we were all talking, and we decided that in case anything happens to us and we had children,
Rarity paused.
we'd like you to be our godmother. And our family's guardian,
Twilight added, smiling. Fluttershy's jaw dropped, stared at each of her friends. All had smile but fearful faces on her face.
You would want me to look after your...
The 5 ponies nodded nervously.
We know it's a bit forward-thinking, but we know if we have children, if something happens to one of us, we'll feel better knowing our children would be in good hands, Twilight said.
Yeah, the way you handle animals is brilliant. The way you handle the King Mark's Crusaders is amazing. I know if I have any kids, they would grow up to be just as awesome as me with you cheering them on,
Rainbow said. Fluttershy's jaw was working, but she couldn't say anything for a long time. Tears began to well up in her eyes. But not out of sorrow, as the ponies in the room began to suspect, but out of joy. Even though they don't have lovers or children, they were making her part of their future families. They were becoming a family. Before any pony knew what was happening, Fluttershy stretched out her forelegs and brought them all into a hug.
You girls are the best friends America could ask for.
She beamed. Behind us, Spike gagged and rolled his eyes. The 5 ponies breathed a sigh of relief that it worked.
That's what friends are for, Pinky said, to help you smile.
Fluttershy shook her head.
Oh, but you're not my friends, not anymore.
She hugged them all tighter.
You are my family. You always have, always will be.
Oh, I know it said the 5 ponies queued on this, but this was me! Hazel came out of his hut and took each one of the 6 mares, gagging most of his mouth. It looked to Spike and just threw his head to back garden. Spike nodded. Together, the pair quickly stormed out of the cottage into the garden. The 6 ponies took no notice of the pair leaving, but merely separated from each other, looked at one another for a moment, smiled beautifully. First, I was right. It seems like less friends now, and more of a family they started hanging out with each other. Family that would never be split apart.
Well, sappy moments are over. Are you here to have fun?
Rainbow asked. The others cheered and nodded, so the slumber party began. For the next few hours, they entertained themselves with stories, some about love, adventure, and great dangers, but they were all about friendship and family. When it was Fluttershy's turn, she told him about what happened with Celestia, and how she met her father and mother one last time. By the end, all of them, even Spike and Angel secretly snuck in, were wiping their eyes from the tears that were falling. Once they composed themselves, they played games, sang songs, told terrible jokes and puns, till it had gone past midnight. Twilight let out a yawn, looked at the time. Well, I'm pooped. Think it's time to call it a night, the others agreed reluctantly. One last thing. Who wants to go to the beach tomorrow? They all nodded, beaming smiles. Brilliant. See you all in the morning. Good night, Twilight said. Tucked herself into a sleeping bag, and after a moment fell asleep.
Thank you, by the way, every pony.
Fluttershy said, once he gets everyone settled for our sleeping bags.
For a great evening.
You're most welcome, Applejack said. Good night, Sugar Cube. Good night, every pony. A chorus of good nights played out through the group, while swiftly past the doors as Rainbow, Rarity, Spike, Pinky, and Applejack fell asleep,
One by one, leaving Fluttershy and Angel weak. A godmother. She couldn't believe it. She giggled and jaw on the spot in excitement, picked up Angel and hugged him tight. The rabbit smiled and returned the hug.
Oh, I am so happy,
she whispered, nestling the little bunny. She let Angel go, whilst she scurried off to his huts, and kept wondering who would be the first to have a child that she would help raise.
Don't worry about that yet,
She thought.
first of all, enjoy your life with them.
She took to the air and floated silently to her couch, where she would sleep for the night, next to her family. She lay down on her belly, tucked her legs under her stomach, and looked at each of the sleeping ponies that made up her family.
Love you, girls.
She whispered.
I love you so much.
She rested her head on the couch and closed her eyes and fell asleep. As her mind pulled her into her first beautiful night dreams she had in months, her father's words played back to her, giving her reason to smile. Another adventure was over. Tomorrow, another will begin. The end. There is another chapter after this where it's basically just a preview for the next big adventure. That's just kind of a, it's kind of like one of those Marvel after credit scenes where they show a preview of the next film and all that. You've seen the type. Not doing that. Instead, it's time to do something I haven't done in a while. A review time! Let me start this review off by saying my history with this fic, because this is hell of an interesting story. So, when I first started with the fandom, back in 2012, I just started getting used to fanfic. And I had just started getting used to reading good fanfics again. Ones that were not just porn, or rape-based, or lemons, and that type of thing, or bad fics. I started enjoying fics again. So, I started looking up and I found this one story in the feature box. And it was about Fluttershy getting incinerated by a dragon, then coming back unscathed. It was wonderful. It was excellent. And it got me hooked. But I didn't have an account at the time. Fancy that. I didn't have, it wasn't April yet, so I didn't have an account with them. Well, after I finally got an account on FinFic, I started looking for that fic. I looked high and low. Every time I tried finding the fic, I would either A, get an episode description for Dragonshy, or B, I would get something Skyrim related. Now, not that there's a problem. Skyrim's an awesome game! But I didn't want Skyrim, I wanted this fic. So, it kept me intent. I tried for a year, until finally, it happened to, one of the chapters happened to pop up in the feature box. So quickly, I clicked on it, saved it, and saved it. Later on, I read it to completion. And let me just say, it was worth the wait. Every single golden minute, it was worth the wait. Now, those of you who have watched this show for as long as you have, know the rules. We first take something bad, then we talk about the good. If this was a bad fic, we'd be talking about the good before going to bad. So let's start dissecting this with the good and with the bad. The bad for this fic is gee. Give me a moment. I know, it's on the tip of my tongue about what's bad about this fic. Okay, to be truthful, I really got nothing. I got nothing for why this fic is bad. But I do have a few things that are kind of down about it. Like, for instance, I wonder if there could have been a better way to do the Dragonlord speech and, separate it, or to show subtitles, or even say she started speaking in Draconic. But this is probably the first time I've ever seen translated words in parentheses
versus the dialogue. So maybe I just not used to it, but I still feel like there could have been a different way of giving me this, or a different way we could have described how that they were talking Draconic. Next, although I love the use of the main six, my big complaint about them is that Peggy was useless. I mean, don't get me wrong. Speaking from experience, I know how hard it is to write for her in action scenes or in an adventure story. Because, the habit for Piggy Pie is to, go insane and be wild. But in an adventure and a serious story, you can't have that. So, doing anything with her in this type of scenario is hard to do. Luckily for me, I've been able to do it well, but you gotta be careful with her. But beyond that, I can't really think of anything I hate about this story. So, on to the good! The villains on this were good. I mean, I know we only had the one bad guy, Thordak, but it does his few appearances. He had a good way of being a good type of theme villain. The type of villain who just exploded all over and just had this presence. You knew he was watching over you. You knew he was waiting in the wings, ready to strike and pounce. You saw his motivation. You saw that he had good reasons for being it. You could feel like there was something more to him, that he wasn't just a world-devouring monster. But he was somebody who was a tragic villain, who only became this way because of war and because of other people's announcements. And, in a way, was a good opposite of Fluttershy, who did lose somebody close, but wasn't willing to lose herself to hatred. He did. And we see at the very end, he had one last chance. One moment in his life to finally make up for it. Even though he realized that he was going to die and he was going to go straight to hell. And although he was the only villain, he made a huge impact on this story. He gave us every reason for why he was such an awesome and well-developed villain. I also love the OCs. Everybody. While some of these OCs were like one-shots, they were still well done and were crafted well. I loved seeing each one of them pop up and say, "Hi, we're the villains. Hi, allow us to discuss this. And hey, we're the OCs." And each of them gave it, and I was kind of interested in each one. Some of my favorites were Throa, who was like this badass Han Solo-like character who I could really appreciate his style. And, of course, Firewing, which is why I was complaining about losing him. I felt like he was the type of mentor character that I would enjoy. He felt like he was ready to help out, and I love seeing his interactions with Fluttershy. I love seeing his development in the way his character took place. And his death was even sorrowful. It was everything a good, sad character death needed to be. The pacing was spot on, by the way. As I didn't feel like scenes or places dragged on. As a matter of fact, it felt like the story moved at a good, evenly pace. Even with the long chapters, I never once felt like we were dragging at any specific points. I also love the description and how much Horsegun was acknowledged, how beautiful the landscape felt. Like, it was a place I wanted to explore more. I could feel like we were going to a different land and we could explore more and there was more to the world. And it just made the place feel so much bigger than it was. And I couldn't help but smile as I felt this lovely world spreading out before me. And I was along with these guys for an awesome ride.
Which leads me to another thing I liked. The quest worked really well. About hunt for these 5 keys of searching, finding these different dungeons and these different monsters. I have to wonder if Fluttershy 20 wouldn't make a hell of a DM. Because these puzzles, these dungeons, all of them worked so hard. I have expected it to find a beholder at one point in this fic. That was how great it was to find all these locations and all these places and be there. And except for Piggy, the main 6 were crafted well as well. Yeah, some points Twilight was scared, but unlike some fics I can mention, you probably know the ones, Twilight had a good reason for being scared. The main 6 actually had reasons for being nervous, but to show that true bravery wasn't being devoid of fear, it was acknowledging that you were afraid and doing something about it, as the Third Doctor was saying. And that was something grand too to watch. They're willing to break free of their fears, charge off into battle, and save the day and be the heroes that we know and love. And Fluttershy? Fluttershy was a highlight of this fic. As we got to see her go through all the emotions, and struggling with something I really enjoyed seeing. An idea that I really like dealing with. How does a girl whose whole entire belief, her whole entire persona is based on her kindness, deal with the fact that she is now a warrior? And she now is given into conflict and bloodshed. How does she deal with her own lifestyle, her own choices? And how does she work through that? And it explores that type of thing well, as we see Fluttershy coming to terms with grips of realizing that sometimes even the kindness have to fight, but there are ways you can do that without losing yourself. There are ways to protect your friends without losing what makes you you. And another great thing that this fic does is the wonderful familial moments, the friendship moments where they have deep personal connections, where they talk about their fears, their futures, who they are, where they came from, why they care about each other, the way that they snuggle together, the way they hug and talk about themselves. Everything here was wonderfully done, wonderfully crafted, and this is why this fic is on my top 12! Because this story is awesome! And I'm glad to share it all for you. But now the only question is, what to follow up with? Probably really shouldn't do another epic. And the big story that I want to do in honor of My Little Pony's last episode is not going to happen until October 10th. So we gotta do a couple of fics in between then. And I think I know what I want to do. Because there's a promise I made last year about a fic that I wanted to do that was completed, but I didn't find out it was completed until recently. So, it's time to bring out an old friend, guys. As we look back at a good Arcade Striker fic. And we go where no pony has gone before. Space, the final frontier.
These are the voices of the Starship Enterprise. Its ongoing mission.
They explore strange new worlds, strange places.
To boldly go where no one has gone before. Energize!
Yep, time for a Star Trek fic, guys! Interestingly, we've done Doctor Who, now we've done Star Trek. Each all I need is a set of a Star Wars fic with Pony, and I got the whole set. Well, okay, maybe Babylon 5 too. One down, thousands more to go. See you next time!